Welcome back. It's time for Media Watch on France 24, our look at the top stories and the more offbeat ones found in French media. James Creedon is here with us.
Good evening, Lana.
Good evening. We start with the summer series that are being published in Le Monde, one of the main French papers, and others.
That's right. We were talking earlier this week about France on holidays. You know, in July and August, the whole country basically kind of comes to a halt, in particular in August. And
Absolutely.
so it seems that newsrooms, it's the same, except for here. Everyone seems to be here at the moment, including us.
We're all on deck.
Right. So this is Libération, and they have a pull-out section at the moment called Été, which means summer. And you've got, you know, they're talking about a heavy metal group in Oslo. Here, it's this was today's one actually on 9 Chinese dragons. So lots of it's very magazine-y in its material.
There.
Exactly. And just to focus more on Le Monde today, because theirs is quite unusual, I think. They have a series of different focuses. One is this one. It's a political fiction drama that is. It's different themes every day. Here you've got Marine Le Pen, and in each case, it's written by a journalist who is writing under a pen name by the name of Filet, and she's imagining 2012. That's next year. She is imagining. Well, I've got an insight into who this journalist is actually, but apparently I'm not meant to say.
You can't give us a hint.
Right, works in Brussels. Okay, I probably shouldn't say that. Anyway, in any case, 2012, and Marine. So they're imagining what the world would be like if, say, the euro had ended, what the politicians would be saying to each other.
So it's not too far from the news, but it is fiction.
It's actually it's a little. It's kind of almost what could be around the corner if things don't go very well. If Germany went back to the Deutschmark, what the conversation would be between Sarkozy and Merkel. Here, yesterday's one, for instance, was this guy. Now he is Jean-Pierre Jouyet. He's a French technocrat and the president of the Financial Markets Authority. Now that does not sound very sexy, dare I say. But what they're imagining is if France lost its AAA rating next year, what?
Then he would be
what the implications would be.
Right,
so this is the kind of stuff we have, and in the next kind of example of it is politeness. They have a series about politeness around the world.
Right, so that's another summer series.
Exactly, and today it's about Germany, and apparently the credo in Germany is simplicity and efficiency. Yesterday it was Israel, where apparently politeness is to be as polite as a cactus, i.e. not polite at all. And last week I really enjoyed the one about Britain and how British people queue all the time. They stand in these straight lines in these files indiennes and kind of Indian, like Indians in a line. And the French apparently think this is very peculiar and strange. And
French have gotten better at queuing up, though, haven't they?
Well, I'm not sure.
Worse.
I'm not sure if I can agree with you.
I've seen much worse.
I've seen some pretty hairy queues here and there. And just a final one: families with teenagers all over Europe. So you meet a family with teenagers in Germany, a family with teenagers in Austria. What their lives are like. I think that's
very different.
I don't think they are really. I think that's kind of a weird angle. And the final one then is actually a cartoon, or a series of cartoons about the French Foreign Ministry, written by a young civil servant, giving a kind of an insight of what's happening behind the scenes. So there you go. It's basically a way of allowing journalists to go off on holidays and to have a lot of this stuff prepared in advance, which is put out and covers about 3 to 4 pages in each day's newspaper.
And it's a bit more creative than what we see the rest of the year.
Right,
as well.
and actually,
it's a bit of a breather for everyone.
Exactly, and quite interesting to read, especially the politeness series. I think it's quite hilarious reading about how polite people are or aren't across Europe or the world. So there you go. That's the summer series in any case.
Next up, a bit of a curious initiative. I have to admit, when I read this, I thought they were crazy, but it seems the Italians are trying to borrow the Mona Lisa from the Louvre. Do they really think they're going to get it?
The Louvre, I mean, if you see the top 10 sites in Paris and kind of listed on postcards or anything like that, the Mona Lisa is always there.
They will loan out the Mona Lisa.
It's almost part of the French identity now, or at least the Paris, even though it's not French, of course. It was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. But in any case, behind this, you've got a guy called Silvano Vicenti. Now, Vicenti is a former journalist, and he's the head of the Committee for Valuing Historic Items in Italy.
And he's very daring.
He's very daring. He's a bit of a Leonardo da Vinci expert. He was the guy who discovered that in the Mona Lisa, you have the letters L and S hidden in the eyes of Mona Lisa. He discovered this some time ago. L for Leonardo and S, apparently, for his supposed lover at the time, a woman called Salai. In any case, so he's totally fascinated with Leonardo da Vinci's works. And for the 100th anniversary of the last time that this artwork was in Italy, he wants to bring it back to Florence. Now, The Louvre is saying, no way, Jose,
of course
forget
it's going
about
to be
it.
a tough sell.
Right, and if you go back, I think in La Stampa, it was in La Stampa actually that he wrote about this, and he's really asking very vociferously for this to happen. But the last time they lent the Mona Lisa in 1974, it was partly damaged. So they just say, we don't want to do this. And apparently, just to kind of give a detail as to this 100-year anniversary, actually it was an Italian guy who worked at the Louvre back in 1911 who robbed the Mona Lisa and brought it to Italy, where it was hidden for 2 years and discovered in 1913, 100 years ago. So I'm not sure the Louvre would be too eager to celebrate the stealing of the Mona Lisa and bringing it to Italy 100 years ago. So it's not going to happen.
Enough to scare you off.
Forget it, Mr. Vicente.
You were comparing politeness in different nations,
right.
And now we're talking happiness in different countries. It's emerged France is among the most depressed countries in the world. Is that true?
Well, I mean, according to some statistics, this is actually an article that appeared on France 24's website, written by one of our fellow journalists, Sophie Pilgrim, and it's based on research done by the World Health Organization. Now, they have determined, based on a study, that France is the most depressed country in the world. Usually it's the Nordic countries, I think, score quite heavily on that. And in any case, France has the highest percentage of declared depressed people at 21%, just ahead of the Americans at 19.2%. Now, I think why this article got generated such a lot of comment online is, I suppose, the enigma of developed countries having a high level of depression. In fact, this study shows that the depression is a growing problem in wealthy countries, whereas in poorer countries, people don't seem to be as depressed. So that doesn't seem to add up, I suppose you could say. So there you go. That's an article on France 24's website worth checking out by Sophie Pilgrim.
So interesting results there.
Yes.
And we're ending with a video, a speeding video that was the first item on France 2's news bulletin. France 2, one of the main television channels, public channels.
Perhaps proving that this is summer, if they're starting with this. Now, this is a couple of guys in Alsace in the east of France who were speeding along the roads of Alsace, flying past, taking film.
Pretty dangerous.
Taking film, exactly, and taking film even of speeding cameras, except that they were caught by the police. And as they were, the police then found the video of their speeding expedition in the car and decided to share it with the public. It was the top item on today's 1 p.m. news on France 2 and again in the evening news. So there you go. I suppose better not have proof of your exploits speeding around the Alsace countryside, because
they're famous now.
It's pretty much going to be an open and shut case then for the police. So there you go. But
thanks very much. Thanks
top item on France 2. Thanks.
Well, it wasn't our top item here on France 1.
we're serious.
We've been talking Egypt all day, and that was a major story.
Absolutely. Serious stuff here.
Thanks for being with us, James Creedon. That was Media Watch on France 24. Do stay tuned. Coming up after a quick break is Web News, our roundup of the top internet content of the day.